Hello and welcome to lesson 2-3. This lesson is titled Use Models to Add and Subtract Decimals. We're going to learn about different ways that we can do that. Let's go ahead and watch our short video lesson together, and then we'll jump into our notes and our guided practice as usual.
How can you use models to add decimals? Use the table to find the total monthly cost of using the dishwasher and the DVD player. From the table, the monthly cost of using the dishwasher is 85 cents, and the monthly cost of using the DVD player is 40 cents. Use compatible numbers to estimate. 85 cents plus 40 cents is about 80 cents plus 40 cents. What is a good estimate for 80 cents plus 40 cents?
Select your answer.
Okay, so if we're looking for an estimate of 80 cents plus 40 cents, we know that 80 cents plus 20 cents is $1. So 80 cents plus 40 cents will give us $1.20.
Place value blocks can be used to add decimals. Use place value blocks to model 85 cents plus 40 cents. Combine the blocks. Regroup when you can. The monthly cost of using the dishwasher and DVD player is $1.25.
Okay, so that was a super short video lesson. It's working on using place value blocks to help us figure out how we solve, essentially, using that as to help model and show the work that we're doing. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into our notes and our guided practice in just a minute here. Now, for your notes, our lesson title again is Use Models to Add and Subtract Decimals. And our focus question is, how can you use models to add decimals? We can use place value blocks to model adding and subtracting. Now, our first question says, Gloria rode her bicycle 75 hundredths of a mile in the morning and 1 40 hundredths of a mile in the afternoon. How many miles did Gloria ride in all? So if she rode 75 hundredths, that's 7 tenths and 5 hundredths. So I drew 7 of my 10 rods and 5 of my individual little units. That's for her morning. And then for her afternoon, we said that she rode a total of 1 mile and 40 hundredths of a mile. So here's my 1 whole mile. There's my 100 flat and my 4 tenths to make the 40. Now, what I can do, or what I did do here, is I combined them. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see. I took my 7 tenths over here, plus 3 of my tenths from here to make a group of 100, to make 1 whole, plus the other whole that I already had. Now, since I'd only taken 3 of the 10 rods, I'm still going to have 1 left over because there were 4 altogether, plus the 5 individual ones. So my 75 hundredths, the 70 plus 30 from the 10 rods in her afternoon made 1 mile, plus the other mile that she had already ridden in the afternoon, plus that 1 remaining 10 rod and the 5 ones. So if I stack and add, remember you stack your decimals first, 0.75 plus 1.40. And then after you line up your decimal, you drop your decimal point into its spot. You're just going to work with the numbers the way you usually do. 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 4 is 11. So I put my 1 here. I carry the other 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So Gloria rode for a total of 2 15 hundredths of a mile on her bicycle. Now let's take a look at another example. It says use place value blocks to subtract 1 57 hundredths minus 89 hundredths. So I drew out my 1 57 hundredths. And I need to break it apart. I need to take away 89 hundredths. So right away, I can see if I only have 7 of my hundredths and I need to take away 9, that's not enough. If I only have 5 of my tenths and I need to take away 8, that's not enough. So what I need to do is decompose. So I took my whole and I separated it out into 10 rods. And I took one of my 10 rods and I separated it into hundredths or individual little ones. So now I have enough. So I was able to take away the 9 individual little hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I had these 8 left over. And then I was able to take away 8 of my tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of my tenths. And then I was left over with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths and 8 hundredths. So that leaves me with 68 hundredths. So now we're able to subtract 1 and 57 hundredths minus 89 hundredths after being decomposed and broken apart. Using our base 10 blocks, we found out that the difference is 68 hundredths. Let's take a look at your guided practice for this lesson. Number 1 says explain how to use place value blocks to find the difference between the monthly cost of using the DVD player and the dishwasher. So if we have 85 cents to use the dishwasher, that's 8 10 rods and 5 little unit squares. And then I removed 4 of those 10 rods for the 40 cents to run the DVD player. That leaves me with 45 cents left over. For numbers 2 through 7, we're just doing our work and showing using place value blocks. 1 and 22 hundredths plus 34 hundredths. So here's my 1 and 22 hundredths plus my 34 hundredths. Together they made 1 and 56 hundredths. 63 hundredths and 40 plus 41 hundredths. We knew the 60 plus the 40 made 100 or a full 100 flat, so that's 1 whole, plus the 4 individual little hundredths left over, so 1 and 4 hundredths. Number 4 is a subtraction, 2 and 73 hundredths. Take away 94 hundredths. So I drew out my 2 and 73 hundredths. And I found out very quickly that I don't have enough of my hundredths or my tenths to subtract. So I had to decompose one of my hundredths and one of my tenths. So then I was left with 1 whole hundredth that was still solid, and then the remaining 10 tenths and the 7 tenths from that I had previously, as well as the now 10 hundredths and 4 previous hundredths. So now I could subtract. So now I had a total of 13 of my hundredths. 13, I could now take away 4. So I did that. For the tenths, I had 16 of them now after I did that decomposing and breaking apart. I could take away 9. So I had 7 left over, and I still had my 1 whole left over. So I had 1 and 79 hundredths. For number 5, 1 and 38 hundredths minus 73 hundredths. Again, I had to decompose or break apart my whole into 10 tenths in order to have enough. So I was able to take away my hundredths. 8 hundredths minus 3 hundredths left me with 5 hundredths. I wasn't able to do originally the 3 tenths minus the 7 tenths. That's why we broke apart our whole. So now 13 tenths, take away 7 tenths, left me with 6 tenths. And because I had broken apart that whole, I didn't have any more. So my remainder here, or my answer to my subtraction question is 65 hundredths. For number 6, we have 47 hundredths minus 21 hundredths. Here we didn't have to do any regrouping because we had enough of all of the pieces. So I drew out my 47 hundredths, and then I just started crossing out what I was removing and boxed what I had left over. So it left me with 26 hundredths. And our last one, number 7, 2 and 2 hundredths plus 8 tenths. So I drew my 2 whole and 2 hundredths next to it, plus 8 tenths gave me 2 and 82 hundredths. That takes us to the end of this lesson. Please make sure you're doing your math very carefully. When you're stacking and adding or subtracting, remember it works the exact same way as it does with whole numbers. You just need to make sure you're lining up your decimal points and dropping it down into the answer area, and then working with the numbers the way you usually do. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.